Hey, I've got a Saturday night story for you guys. We'll call this one the Deadly Daddyo. You know, the man who murders his entire family. Are you ready for it? Buckle up, buttercups, because Auntie Cuckoo's got another murder story for you guys. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Storytime with Auntie Cuckoo, K-O-O, K-O-O. Let's do it. So, this is the List murders. John List was 46 years old and lived in Westfield, New Jersey in 1971 when he murdered his entire family. Murder him, slaughter him, just murder them all, and then went on the run. 18 years until this man was found. And you want to know how he was found? Well, just hold your pants there, sisters. I'll tell you. Let's start from the beginning, though. Key players. So we've got John List, like I said, 46-year-old man, huge devout Lutheran, you know, huge into his faith. He's a CPA accountant type man. He is married and he has 3 children. Patricia, who's 16 years old, John Jr., John Jr., who's 15 years old, and then Freddie, who's 13 years old. Well, they live, like I said, in Westfield, New Jersey, and they also live in this beautiful Victorian house, and on the 3rd story of this home is where his mother, Elna, lives. So his 84-year-old mother lives on the 3rd story in, like, her mother-in-law suite separate apartment up there. Living together is a nice, happy family, right? So all 3 kids go to school, are popular, you know, engaged in after-school activities, so on and so forth. John, like I said, was devout Lutheran, Christian, whatnot. He volunteered, and he also, like, taught Sunday school, like, huge into this. It was the fall of 1971 when the List family went to visit a sick relative. Well, their neighbors go, no, and they went to visit a sick relative, right? Well, a month later, this List home is, like, still vacant, and no one's around. Like I said, they got 3 kids. So a month later, the neighbors are getting a little suspicious. So finally, they call the police and like, we might need to do a welfare check or something. So the popos show up to the List home. They're banging on the doors and no one answers. And they're walking around and they're pushing on stuff and they find a window or a door or something that's open. So they go in. New Jersey, fall 1971, fall weather, whatnot. They walk in this home and it is freezing in this home. So they already are like, what the heck's going on here? On top of that, they hear this music very quietly playing in the background. It's like a classical music, but it sounds like a funeral home. So as they're walking through the house, they get a whiff and they smell decomposition. So they start looking for that. As they walk through the home, they find in the main room, it's called the ballroom at this time, 4 bodies. We've got his wife laid out nice and neat on a sleeping bag, gunshot wound to her head. And next to her, his daughter, Patricia, gunshot wound on a sleeping bag. Then his son, Johnny, and then his younger son, Freddie, laid out nice and neat. The police are like, what the heck? As they're walking through the house, they can see that it's obvious that someone had attempted to clean up. And, you know, there's mops and towels with blood soaked in the corners and stuff. And they continue walking through the home, and they go upstairs, and on the 3rd floor, they find John List's 84-year-old mother with a gunshot wound to her head. So they continue searching the home. In the den of this house, the police find 2 guns, which end up being the murder weapons, as well as a confession apology letter from John List to his pastor of the Lutheran church. Yeah. He's like, dear pastor, my bad, I screwed up. No, that's not what he said. I'll tell you what he said. Hold on. He says, I know what has been done is wrong. I'm sure many will say, how can anyone do such a horrible thing? Mother is in the hallway. Mother is in the hallway by the attic. She was too heavy to move. Really? Are you kidding me? So, anyways, it goes on in the letter and pretty much states that he felt that his children were pulling away from the church And his daughter had this big idea of wanting to like join theater in high school and possibly being an actress, which in his mind and in his religion and whatnot, he believed in his own mind, he believed that being an actress or an actor was like the most immoral job you could have. So he was like disgusted and like blown away by this. And like I said, on top of that, he had lost his job, bills were mounting, he felt like a failure, and he felt like the only way to save his wife, mother, and children from eternal damnation in hell was to blow their brains out. Right? Makes sense. And send them to heaven now. I'm not sure, I guess he wasn't worried about himself, just move on with his life, because he didn't kill himself. But anyway, so that's his thing, and that's pretty much what the letter says. Like, my bad, I screwed up, but I did what I could, and you know, you get it, Pastor. I had to kill him. They weren't down with this, so I had to kill him. You know? Save him from eternal damnation. Thank you. So, obviously, police go around, question the neighbors. Neighbors state, like, you know, he's a very mild-mannered man, you know, very reclusive, but, like, no signs of violence or murdering entire families or anything like that. So it was 2 days after the bodies were found that they found John List's car in the JFK parking lot at the airport. As they searched, there was no flights that John had taken out or in, nothing at all. He just, poof, gone, vanished. But the car was found there. They saw that the stamp on the car's parking was from November 10th. So that also helped like kind of place when the family was murdered and whatnot. So police obviously issued a, you know, bolo murder warrant for John List. On top of that, they did the investigation. Ballistics come back. The 2 guns found in the den, in fact, are the murder weapons that killed his wife, his 3 children, and his 84-year-old mother. And the medical examiner stated that the bodies were there for at least a month, but the reason they weren't as decomposed as they should be is because he had turned the AC down so low. So no one knew, like, did John murder his whole entire family and then commit suicide? Or did he murder his entire family and run off living a new life? Who knows? I don't know. Do I know? Do you know? Well, we're going to know together. Hold up. So, police detectives for years are like, you know, what do we do? Like I said, it's in the 70s. They don't have much to go on. They're doing everything they can to keep this case alive. So on the anniversary of the case, they're, you know, like hitting up the newspapers. Hey, it's the 1-year anniversary. Run the story again. Hey, it's the 5-year anniversary. Run the story again. Trying and trying. Nothing's working. Not getting any leads. Until, that is, they find and like got the plan of America's Most Wanted. We've all watched it. We all love it, right? This is what brought John List down 18 years later. 18 years. Smack damn. That's what you get. Pow-pow. So, what had happened was the people from the John List case reached out to America's Most Wanted and was like, listen, could you please breathe some life in this case? We need to figure this out. Mass murder of an entire family. John Walsh, you know, his son was murdered and that's why I got into this. And he's like, I'll do whatever. But the issue here is, at the end of each airing, we show a picture of what the suspect looks like. We don't have a picture for almost 20 years. What are we going to do? So they're thinking, and they're like, Frank Bender. Let me tell you what, this man is he's amazing. Frank Bender. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it because we're not here for all the forensics. We just want stories and details. But this man is amazing. What Frank Bender does is like, you know, you find a Jane Doe out in the desert and you find just like a skeleton. No one knows who she is. No one's reported anyone missing. From that skeleton, he builds a face around that skeleton. And I don't know the exact numbers, but I want to say like 99% of the time it's been an exact match. Where like people have been missing for years and like, oh, that's my daughter. You know, whatever the case is, she was a prostitute and went missing. And I just thought, you know, she was not in contact. Oh my God, that's my daughter. Like he rebuilds skulls and builds faces on them. On point. So, obviously John List isn't murdered, but they're like, listen, you think you do some reverse shit, shiznit, where we already got the skull and the face on it, but could you add like 20 years to it? And Frank's like, if I go in hard. Go big, go home, I do it all. If we're going to do this, I need to get in this man's head, because things aren't the same. There's computer programs that age us. But what they really do is just like add a wrinkle here, sag an eye there, put a little mark here. That's it. He's like, I need to get into this if we're going to do this right. So what he does, He gets a... I don't want to get his name wrong. I gotta look, sorry. Richard Walter. He is a psychological profiler, like an FBI profiler, like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy shit, you know, like get in their heads, find out what they like, what, you know, what bothers them, what makes them tick, gets in their head, their thinking. So the two of them, Richard Walter and Frank Bender, work together. And they build, it's called a bust, a sculpture of what they think John List would look like 20 years later. Again, I'm going to get it together one of these days and figure out how to run this shiznit correctly. Show you guys pictures because this is crazy how spun on this man is. So they spend all this time, they do the research, you know, of like what his, not, like I said, not just a few lines here and there, but like what his parents look like, the jaw lines, the stress. He had a scar behind his ear. He researched like over 20 years, how would that scar age and look? Like they went into it and they friggin' nailed it. So they do an amazing job, put him in the clothes and everything that they could be in, receding hairline, the jowls, the scar, top it off, the big winner chicken dinner was his friggin' glasses, not sunglasses. My glasses are in the shop right now. Yeah, I said that in the shop. They're getting made. But anyway, so his glasses. The glasses they picked out of 20 years, but not, were almost identical to the glasses that John List was wearing at the time he was captured. Almost identical. So anyways, they put the bust on, and this airs on Sunday, May 21st, 1981. I believe it was the next friggin' day. 18 years it took. The next day after America's Most Wanted, the bust being aired in the story, that this lady called Wanda Flannery was like, hey, I was watching America's Most Wanted, and I'm pretty sure that John List is Bob Clark, who just married my best friend. And he just moved to Richmond, Virginia. And they're like, what? She's like, not only did I know it was him before you even showed the bust, just from the description of his Lutheran faith and being a CPA and his mannerisms and the scar. She said, then you guys showed the picture of him. She's like, and I knew, my daughter and I both knew it was our neighbor, Bob Clark, who just married my best friend, joined from the Lutheran church, and moved off to Richmond, Virginia. So they close in on Bob Clark. Where do they find him? At an accounting job, CPA accounting job. They arrest Robert Peter Clark, I believe is what he was going by. And they're like, are you Bob Clark? Are you Robert Clark? He's like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. They're like, are you John List? He's like, no. Like, are you John List? No. I don't know who that is. Well, fingerprints. Robert Clark is John List. On top of that, there was other things. Oh, the scar in his ear. That was a huge one. You know, like, so anywho, it ends up coming out and he says what happened. He's like, finally once it all comes up, he's like, here's what happened. So before we end our story, let me tell you how it all laid out for this deadly Daddyo, the massacre of his family. John List had a wife and 3 teenagers that were doing great in school and stuff, but he felt they were pulling away from the Lutheran church. His biggest concern was these children were not going to go to church every Sunday. On top of that, he had just lost his job and was failing. And he felt his family, his wife, his ailing elderly mother that lived upstairs, and his 3 beautiful, smart, future in front of them, teenager children, were set to go to hell. They're going to go to hell. So I better blow their brains out first. So that's what he did. He blew his children's friggin' brains out, and his wife and his mother. Turned the thermostat all the way down so it would take a while for anyone to find out so he could run off and start a new life. 18 years this deadly Daddyo ran around, starting new lives and new careers. It's just insane to me. And that is until America's Most Wanted. Watch out. Get on that show. I'm telling you. That's like a dead giveaway. I feel like they could solve like almost all crimes always. Love it. Anyway, so I think that's it. I think that's all I got for you guys. So the end of it was, after 20 years, yes, they did find him. The jury found him guilty of 5 murders, 5 counts of first-degree murder, and sentenced him to life in prison, as he deserved. I feel like he deserves more than that, right? Anywho, thank you guys so much for checking in for another murder story with Auntie Cuckoo. I appreciate you guys. I hope everyone is staying safe, doing good things, being kind to one another, and wearing your mask, washing your hands, and just be nice. Spread love, kindness. Give hugs, not drugs. Make love, not war. You know, do your thing. Chicken wang. All right, thanks so much. Thank you.